All right, very, very crazy stories today, including one that I talked about years ago. You may recollect. We'll talk about that here right now. What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. The asteroid that will spare Earth might hit the moon instead. You have to be joshing me. Okay, so look at this. You have to see this. So this is out of CNN, so most people don't believe it. That's just my opinion. Again, it says the asteroid known as 2024 YR4 is out of sight, yet still very much on scientists' minds. The building-sized object, which initially appeared to be on a potential collision course with Earth, is currently zooming beyond the reach of telescopes on its orbit around the sun. But as scientists wait for it to reappear, its revised trajectory is now drawing attention to another possible target, the moon. Discovered at the end of 2024, and remember, this was the weird one. Everybody's like, whoa, this might actually hit us. The space rock looked like it as first might hit our planet December 22nd, 2032, with the chance of that impact changed with every new observation. This is the one that I talked about that was like 1.8%, then it was 1.9%, then it was 2.1%. Remember, these percents, we actually did the 1 out of 32. It was like 1 out of 500. Then the next observation, it was like 1 out of 300. Then we were like, oh, we did an update today. Every day it went down, and it got down to like 1/32, like 1 out of every 32. That's insane. And I could be wrong. It could have went lower than that or a little bit up. I'm pretty sure. I remember thinking I have better odds playing some scratch tickets. So that was pretty crazy. And then all of a sudden they're like, nope, just kidding. Now they're saying that it might hit the moon. Now, remember when YouTube all shut down? Some of you may be from that video because everything was trending as far as the moon video. There was a supposed video where this guy said that we were in trouble, that he was sweating, he was talking, he was on a live stream at like 233,000 people or something before it got taken down, and he got taken out of a room. He was in full military garb. You guys remember this? Everybody covered it. Drama Alert covered it. Multiple channels. They said that our moon is going to be hit. And the gentleman basically said that, hey, an asteroid's not going to hit us. It's going to hit our moon. And if it takes out our moon, then we're screwed too. If the moon ever gets damaged beyond repair, then it would screw up all of our cycles. So again, this is very crazy. I will be following it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because I'll be digging deep into this. And what, these crazy claims are. The thing is, though, and if this is some sort of truth that we have not been told as a people, right, it is pretty crazy that this has been this low-key, very, very low-key rumor for about 4 or 5 years now. If you go back to when those Drama Alert and all of my videos and everything about that is, it's about 5-6 years ago. Now remember, there is no evidence of that video. That's why they said that this video went down, that the US government shut down all of it and said you have to wipe every instance of that video, anybody that recorded it, whatever else. That's what the claim is. I'm not saying that that's the truth, but it is crazy we covered that, and now time and time again, they keep coming out with like these little things like, yeah, well, actually now it might hit the moon. So again, this is really, really crazy. Follow us for more of this again right after. All right, now we're going to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. We're also going to talk about the Harvard professor's claims that aliens might actually be approaching. We'll talk about that here in 2 seconds. But first, I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out Jace. If you don't have antibiotics on hand, if there is any kind of emergency, then this is great to have, especially if we ever get into a war with China. They are controlling about 90% of all antibiotics. So go check it out. It's marfooglenews.com/Jace, and make sure to use the code MARF. And just a quick announcement in general, I want you guys to know it is late shows all this month because I'm moving. But on August 1st through whenever, I'm going to be at a new place. We're going to have a new studio for the first time since we moved into this house. In 6 years, I will not have 4 kids stomping on my head. I will have a little shed that I'll be basically separate. So you guys, thank you so much for your patience through all the crazy timing of all of these shows. I've been working like a dog. I am the only one moving a 5-bedroom house, basically, with the exception of a couple of friends that helped a couple hours. But again, thank you guys for your patience. If you all know, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, so let's talk about Ghislaine, and this is like totally along the lines of what we predicted.
Well, the latest update now from her lawyer, who's the only one that seems to be talking. Obviously, the DOJ lawyer just gives a basic statement saying he did his interview and he was going to continue it. But It came out and said that she spoke about talking about 100 different people, basically linked to the EpiPen files there. The attorney had released or claimed today, basically out of the 2 days of interrogation from Attorney General Todd Blanchet. So David Oscar Marcus told reporters that his client is currently serving a 20-year sentence, which we know that. It was asked about every possible thing you could imagine, everything. He said this was the first opportunity she's ever been given to answer questions about what happened. The truth will come out and what happened with Mr. EpiPen, and she is the person who's answering the questions. He then went on to say every single question. If she lies, they could charge her with lying. So basically, she's under oath in this questioning. They didn't. I guess one of the reporters challenged him, saying, "Well, they did charge her with lying in the past because she did have 2 perjury counts that were thrown out after she was convicted." But it seems to me like everything she's doing, the fact that they're making a big publicity, at least from her lawyer's point of view, that she is overwhelmingly cooperating, is right in line with that whole notion about she's trying to get a pardon. And it's interesting because they asked the president about it. And, he even said, well, I have the power to do that. But he said he hasn't given it any thought, being very cavalier about that potential answer.
Would you remember before this was even, in its inception, people predicted this. It's just so crazy to see just common sense people go, oh, well, what if they get Ghislaine Maxwell and ask her, and if she says that he's not part of anything, and then she could probably get a pardon from him. And then it's like, boom, that's exactly what everybody is talking about, and that, shapes the course of history. So very, very crazy with the EpiPen stuff. I've talked to several people just in my real life about the EpiPen stuff, and most people are tired of hearing about it. At the same time, there's, answers that people want, but let's be real. They're not going to give us half of these answers. They're not going to give us any of these answers. I think that most of us have the answers in our guts, and we know the answer to the questions we're asking. We just have to have proof, and that's us as humans. Like, we need to physically have proof. Heck, that's probably why most people don't believe in God. They physically need to see it. But, sometimes you have to have faith in your gut that you know the right answer. And I think most of us, have the majority of the truth in our hearts, and we just don't follow it. Again, now this is crazy because I do feel like there are some things that mainstream has been covering over the years that is closer to truth than not. And it's almost like they're putting it out there because they want to make sure that they, we put this out there, 10% truth and 90% BS distraction, right? So this is something I kind of do and I believe in, and I'm sure that there are people in our Fugel family that are on the complete opposite spectrum of me that believe there's, not very much outside of our planet. But this is very fascinating. They're saying, could Comet 31 Atlas be a piece of alien technology? A question might be sound straight out of a sci-fi movie, is now being brought to the front of the space table by Abraham Loeb, or Avi Loeb. Now this guy is essentially saying that this comet, one of the interstellar objects, this is like the third one we've ever seen, is going to go behind the sun and perch. And it says one might joke that 31 Atlas is a spaceship watching us from a safe distance, like the Orville watching us from a distance. Or maybe it's a ship of an alien coming to attack us like in Predator. 31 Atlas, discovered on July 1st, is the third confirmed interstellar object after Oumuamua. If you remember, Oumuamua was actually named Scout, like it was the first of many, right? That one of the people that came out and said Avi Loeb, he said that it might be alien technology. Well, as far as that goes, it was shaped like this crazy cigar. What have we seen for 50 years? Cigar-shaped UFOs for a very, very long time. So this is absolutely crazy. And sorry, you guys, I've been fried by the sun once again today. This entire week, I've been out in the sun working like a dog, moving stuff out of box trucks and in storage rooms. So thank you guys. I'm just talking like a 2-year-old here. Dex, this is absolutely nuts. Like, they're saying this might even be one too.
So there's a lot of weird things about this. It's got a retrograde yet elliptical orbital plane, meaning it's got, in addition to that, it also has a tilt of 175.1 degrees. So its path is basically nearly flat on our solar system's plane, knowing that it's an interstellar object. So it's coming in at the same flat plane of our solar system, but it's traveling in the opposite direction, which they say is a configuration of a probability of less than 0.2% of happening. So that's a very rare trajectory. Obviously, it's unnatural in size. But here's the interesting thing. There's a solar eclipse, as they call it, or the perihelion. On October 29th, it will be hidden behind the sun from Earth's view. And they're saying that that's a perfect opportunity for a covert reverse solar orbit maneuver. So that would be optimal point in which it could reverse the solar orbit maneuver to become bound to the sun at its perihelion in an orbit maneuver. The thrust of the spacecraft is applied at its maximum orbital speed, namely at its paraapsis, to maximize the resulting change in kinetic energy. So it basically is like shooting off or changing direction using the force of the sun to do that.
Why the first one, Oumuamua, changed speeds. So it came in, and if you look at the where the path went, the trajectory, it actually went, in the grand scheme of things, it went right by Earth and then sped up and left. It's very, very weird. And you know, some people might be, you know, scoffing at this, but the majority of people actually do believe there's something out there, whether that be created by God or if they're angels or whatever it may be. But it is very, very interesting as far as that all of the interstellar objects have had something very, very weird about them. Even the other one that they say might have been an interstellar, like the second one, I believe there was one that actually crashed and might make it 4 or might be the second out of third, that was interstellar, that they didn't know it was interstellar until after it landed or something. They closed down a part of Oregon and Washington, and FBI and CIA rented almost all of these, you know, hotels in the city, and nobody knew what was going on. They were out in the ocean with researchers trying to get a part of whatever landed. So, and why didn't we see a tsunami? You know, if it was big enough to actually come through and land, it had to be pretty small. Or if it was big enough, how did it not cause a bigger disturbance? Dex, go ahead.
Well, the other thing about the size, when you think about Oumuamua, which was called Scout would be much smaller. This one is basically 100 times bigger than Oumuamua. So it's a significantly larger body object that is coming in from an interplanetary, or you know, from an interstellar, I should say, location.
Yeah, this one, and the fact that they say that it's on this weird trajectory, this whole thing, I mean, it's just off. So is it just a distraction, or is it something that we need to pay attention to? Make sure to follow. I'm going to put probably a video together just on this alone. So we'll follow this as well. And then, of course, on the previous story about something hitting the moon. So make sure to follow us. And, of course, head over to the next show. If you want to join us for a full-length show, you can actually just stay and chat. If you're watching the replay, all you have to do is click here. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. On screen, this is the thumbnail you will want to look